Hello. I'd like to address a controversy that has arisen up around Pastor Begg and also something that the Pope said recently. Both of these revolves around trans-sex and homosexual unions. And I'd like to throw in my 2 cents here, not because of what Alistair Begg said, but actually because of the reaction to it. Radio stations has cancelled his programs. Evangelicals left and right have come out against him. And I think that they're all wrong. I think that Alistair Begg is absolutely right. And for those of you who don't know what controversy is about, here's what he said.
You and I know that we field questions all the time that go along the lines of, my grandson is about to be married to a transgender person, and I don't know what to do about this, and I'm calling to ask you to tell me what to do, which is a huge responsibility. And in a conversation like that just a few days ago, and people may not like this answer, but I asked the grandmother, does your grandson understand your belief in Jesus? Yes. Does your grandson understand that your belief in Jesus makes it such that you can't countenance in any affirming way the choices that he has made in life? Yes. I said, well, then, okay, as long as he knows that, then I suggest that you do go to the ceremony, and I suggest that you buy them a gift. Oh, she said, what? She was caught off guard. I said, well, here's the thing. You're not going to, your love for them may catch them off guard, but your absence will simply reinforce the fact that they said these people are what I always thought, judgmental, critical, unprepared to countenance anything. And it is a fine line, isn't it? It really is. And people need to work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. But I think we're going to take that risk. We're going to have to take that risk a lot more if we want to build bridges into the hearts and lives of those who don't understand Jesus and don't understand that he is a king.
Okay. So why did I say Alistair Begg is right? Because of context. Context is everything. I looked at it and I said, Maurice, do not do what they're doing and divorce what he's saying from the context under which he's saying. So here's the context, and you just heard it yourself. He is speaking to a grandmother whose grandchild is about to get married in a trans union. Now, I don't even know if that's a term. But anyway, what he was saying to her, because she was torn with this, because of course she's a devout Christian and she is against the union. She has told her grandchild that she does not support it, she's against it. And so she's torn, and so she calls the pastor, as she should. And the pastor now looks at the situation and say, okay, in your case, in this case, of course, he asks her some qualifying questions. Does he know? Does he understand what you believe? Is he aware of this? She says yes, then yes, and yes. And then he says, okay, you have made your position clear. Here's what you should do. Attend the wedding and bring a gift. Because bringing the gift is just civil. That's all it is. It's just civil. It's just nice. It's what you do. But here's what we're missing. He is telling her that she is still the lifeline to her trans grandchild coming back to the Lord, and she should leave that avenue open. And if she doesn't attend the wedding, she might in fact be closing that door on him. And so he knows where she stands, so go ahead, go to the wedding, bring a gift. And I think he's right. Now, as Pastor Begg said, this is a very fine line. This is a very delicate situation. This is a very slippery slope. But just because the slope is slippery doesn't mean that it's forbidden. Now, Pastor Begg could have come out and said to this woman what he did, and I'd say, yes, he's right. And in a very similar situation with just a few little nuances, he had given her the same answer, and I would have said, no, he's wrong. So it is very incident specific. I just want you to understand that. Okay? And this is not situational ethics that I'm speaking about. And of course, anybody who has been a Christian for any time, actually a Christian, then they'll understand that we do not leave people in their sin in a condemning way. We will let them know that, hey, I can't associate with you in this, but I'm there for you if you ever need me. And this is all Alistair Begg is telling the grandmother to do. And he's right. However, if we go to what the Pope said, the Pope is absolutely wrong. And here's what the Pope said.
In an interview with the Italian weekly magazine Credere, Pope Francis commented on the controversy connected to the Fiducia Supplicans declaration. No one is shocked if I give a blessing to an entrepreneur who is possibly exploiting people, and that is a very serious sin. Whereas, they are scandalized if I give it to a homosexual. This is hypocrisy. He described the document as having a heart geared towards being welcoming.
Now, do you see the difference between what the Pope said and what Alistair Begg said? The Pope is saying that the church should condone and should ratify and should embrace same-sex marriage, and that is wrong. Alistair Begg never went in this direction, never went that far. In fact, Alistair Begg, as far as I know, is against such things. He is a very biblical man. He is one of the few people who I would call pastor, because that's what he is. He is a man of God, and he has been faithful to the word for decades. So when he says something that seems askew, why would we just condemn him? Why has cancer culture now taken over the church? That we would just condemn one of our biggest and brightest without first asking the question, why? And waiting for him to give a response. And weighing his response with scripture. The Pope is wrong because the Pope is saying that the church should condone and should embrace same-sex marriage. And if the church does that, what it's saying is that God is okay with that. And these people who the church embrace in their sinful relationships will eventually go to hell. Plain and simple, because they will die in their sin. This is not what Alistair Begg is saying. What Alistair Begg is saying is that the only way that you can save your grandchild is by leaving that door open for him to come back to the Lord through you. And if you don't go to the wedding, you effectually slam that door in his face. As for the church and the radio stations that has cancelled Alistair Begg, shame on you. The Bible warns you not to lay hands suddenly on no man. And this is what you have done to one of your tried and true brothers. So folks, what are we supposed to learn here? There are times when we have to step back and allow people who would insist on living in their sin to do exactly that. As Paul puts it, turn them over to Satan. And when Satan is done slapping them around a little bit, they will have the good sense to come back to you when they start to see the light. And if you are there and open to them, then that is one less stumbling block, one less barrier for them to overcome in order to get back to the Lord. And that's all I have to say. May God bless you and keep you. May He make His face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. That's the word, folks. Gracious to you. Walk with the King and be a blessing. Goodbye.